Hey everyone. So, a woman who inspires me, Meg Adams, and I am so excited to share with her why she inspires me because I didn't tell her this ahead of time.
You
All right. So,
didn't.
the reason she inspires me is she's got this beautiful energy, and I think it really comes from her gift of storytelling. You have you have this way of speaking and listening that's full of kindness and compassion. And that really inspires me to cultivate that kind of energy in myself. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, Sarah, that's like the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said to me. Thank you for that gift. That I
Oh,
appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. So, can you share a pivotal moment in your journey that defines your path to leadership?
Yes, and I was so grateful to for this question prompt and to be able to share this memory because it so much embodies the spirit of, women and the relationships that I've had with women. But I had for the longest time in my career, well, actually, ever since I was in middle school, I was one of those kids that took the test that they give you that career test in seventh grade, and one of the suggestions was television anchor. And so I sort of had tunnel vision from that moment on. So all through middle school, high school, even into college, I was broadcast journalism all the way. That was my focus. And I got hired into broadcast television. It was not exactly what I thought it is, as most things in life. I had a very glamorous view of what broadcast television would be. And then I decided to go back to graduate school to become a teacher. I had a moment where I thought, hey, I think I can have more impact as an educator. So I ended up going back to school, and I was in my graduate studies to become a language arts teacher. High school English teacher was my goal. I love reading. I love writing and storytelling, as you mentioned, Sarah. And after one of my classes, my professor pulled me aside, and she was one of my favorite professors. I'd had her for several classes, Dr. Christine Tully, shout out to her. And we were walking outside of class, and I remember it was like a spring night. It was a beautiful night. We were standing on the steps of one of the buildings, and she said, "Hey, have you ever considered a PhD?" And I just looked at her and I was like, "Well, no." In my mind, that was just this thing that other people did that people like me didn't do, and then all the imposter syndrome flooding in. But she said, I really think you can do it. She said, because you love teaching, you're in your student teaching, you're teaching students that are seniors in high school, they're in AP writing. They're only 3 months different between the students that you would teach in college. And she's like, I think you would be a really wonderful candidate for a PhD program. And let me connect you to this other woman who had mentored me through a PhD program. And so in that moment, that one conversation that I had with her opened up a flood of possibilities for me.
Hmm.
And I often think back to that moment because if we hadn't have had that conversation, it never would have occurred to me that that was an option for
Yeah.
someone like me. And then that went on to open other doors, and I got to do beautiful work, and here we are today. But I think about that often in the conversations that I have with students or with friends or with other people, that sometimes just that one sentence plants a seed in someone else that carries on. You just never know the impact
Mm.
that you can have in someone's life. So it always reminds me, one, to slow down, and two, to really listen and make sure that you have conversations with people, not to always assume that they know everything, or that they are thinking the way that you're thinking about them. So to just drop that note of kindness when you can, or encouragement.
Yeah, I love that. When you were sharing that story, it reminded me that's exactly how I got on my pathway. I was finishing my bachelor's, and the lady who was Marge Carlson was the one who was like our faculty chair for that program. Asked me if I was going to do a bachelor's, and I was like, "Don't you think I'm too old?" Like I thought I was too old to do a
Yeah.
bachelor's, and that changed the whole trajectory of my life as well. So I love that idea of just one simple conversation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Makes a
Mm-hmm.
huge impact. So
Oh
are you ready
yeah.
for the lightning round?
I love lightning rounds, Sarah.
Okay, okay. So what's one word that defines your approach to life?
Connect.
Hmm. What's your go-to self-care activity?
This is so different than most people. Running.
Really? That's
I know.
awesome. It's not mine, but I love it that
I'm the
it's
only,
yours.
I need to release all the energy. It just goes like, I need it all out. So I love it.
Awesome. What's a book or movie that's profoundly impacted you?
There's a book that I love. It's called Winging It by Emma Isaacs. She is the founder of Business Chicks. They started in Australia, but I am a recovering perfectionist, I like to say, and people pleaser. And that book just gives strategies for how to sort of let go and just take action. And for
Mm,
me, that was just a big, lately, I would say in the past like decade, that really impacted my life, to be able to just say, okay, it's okay for you to just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. So
oh, I love that.
yeah.
Share one habit that's been the key to your personal growth.
A gratitude practice. I started a gratitude practice in 2019, which is a really good time to start one because 2020 came along. And it changed a lot of my perspective in that tough time. But yeah, every day, one of the first things I do is I have a notebook and I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for from the day before. And that has really impacted my life a lot, because I found myself after doing that for a little while, Sarah, looking for things.
Mm,
I'm like, oh, I gotta write that in my journal. I gotta remember my daughter told me that really funny joke and everybody laughed at dinner, and I want to make sure to remember this moment. So it kind of it's helping me be more present and grateful in the moment as well. So yeah,
mm,
it's changed a lot for me.
I love that. Um, what um, what is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
To relax.
Mm,
I was very uptight. I thought everything had to be, work out to your point earlier, work out in a certain amount of time. And I white knuckled through a lot of things. I think I just made processes way harder than they needed to be. If I could have just relaxed and enjoyed the moment and, like I said, just be grateful for where I was, I think it just would have been a lot easier for young Megan. Life itself would have just calm down. Like, it's all going to be okay.
So, let's see here. What's your favorite inspirational quote?
Oh, yeah, this one. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. It's by Aesop.
Oh, I love that. How do you
Hmm.
define success in life?
I think success in life for me looks like waking up every morning excited for the day
Mm.
and grateful. Yep.
What's one small act of kindness that's made a big impact on you?
I mean, I think that this happens every single day for me, but I think like the biggest one, I can go back to that story I told you, at the beginning of our conversation. And I think if I think back to pivotal moments in my life, I can usually trace them back to some small act of kindness or
Hmm.
grace or generosity from someone else. And it's usually those moments, like you said, they seem so small, but if you go down the funnel to like what was the spur or the catalyst for this thing,
Hmm.
it's usually an act of kindness every time.
Yeah. So, what's a dream destination that speaks to your soul?
I'm getting to go in September, but I'm going to go to Paris. And
Really?
and I've never been to Europe, Sarah. It's been on my bucket list. I've had many chances. And this year my daughter turned 10. So we're gonna go to Paris. We're gonna see Notre Dame and Versailles. And I am happy in a city. I love just like walking all day in a city and observing and looking at people and buildings and just walking. I just enjoy it so much. So new places, any new place, I'm pretty happy. If there's like a walk track, I can walk, I can hike. So yeah, Paris is my one that I'm most excited about.
Oh my gosh, that will be amazing. Meg, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was so fun. And again, Sarah, it means so much to me to be asked to be here. So thank you.